All right, this is the lecture for gross domestic product. As you can see, you may want to pause at this point, uh, download the worksheets, and then probably restart if you want to do that. If you also want to follow along, there is a PDF of this PowerPoint presentation for you to download as well. All right, here we go. Just going to look at the basics quick. GDP versus GNP. GDP versus GNP. GDP is going to be gross domestic product, as I said, and it's going to take all the wealth that's created in a country's borders within a year. If you look at that compared to gross national product, or GNP, it's going to be, that's where all the wealth that's created by a nation's companies within a year. So take, for instance, McDonald's. McDonald's is going to be, McDonald's is a multinational company. McDonald's is a multinational company, and so they're going to have a number of different things. So if we look at GDP, gross domestic product, if we were to calculate the wealth that McDonald's creates, we can only calculate what's created within the United States borders. That number grows significantly with GNP as the money that's produced internationally by McDonald's each year is very large. Okay. As you can see here, it's arguably the most important tool in calculating wealth, just because it's one of the easiest tools. There are some other ways, and throughout the course you'll see hopefully some things that some other ways of looking at wealth calculation. In terms of calculating GDP, there's two different approaches. The first is the expenditures approach, and the second is the income approach. The expenditures approach basically looks at all of the goods and products that are produced each year, and all the money that goes into making them. So how much does it cost to produce, a roll of toilet paper? And then you look at everything that goes into it, everything that's spent on the wood you need to turn into paper, the processing of the factory, so on and so forth, to get that roll of toilet paper to your bathroom. The income approach looks at, as it says, the income, what's actually what people make. So it would be that same toilet paper. It would be how much is made by the person in the factory, how much does the CEO of the company make, how much does the truck driver who delivers it make, instead of looking at the costs out of it. When you calculate them both, the thing that's interesting is that they both usually, or should, come out the same when GDP is when it's all said and done. And so both are used to try to kind of calculate against each other to make sure that no mistakes were made. There are a number of limitations of GDP. When you watch the video Who's Counting, or the film Who's Counting, you'll see there are many more issues than what I'm going to cover, but I will cover a few of them here. First, it doesn't cover market activities. Non-market activities. So, in other words, if I'm painting my house, okay, if I pay someone to come in and paint my house, it's counted in GDP. But if I don't pay someone, if I just decide to paint it myself, that's actually not considered part of GDP because there was no money changing hands. So that's the biggest key to GDP. Some form of money has to change hands. Okay. Another limitation is the underground economy. Illegal gambling, illicit drugs, weapons, the black market is not covered by GDP. Some more limitations, things called negative externalities. Basically, this would be things like I put down here: clean air, clean lakes. These things aren't counted in it. So if it doesn't cost money to keep things clean, if something's naturally clean, like a natural flowing spring that you can drink out of straight from the stream, that is not counted. But if, say, there's an oil spill like we had in the Gulf a couple years ago, to clean that up, to get that water to be clean because money was spent, that actually was that actually cost money, so that was counted. So things that are just naturally occurring, those won't count. But if you pay money to clean something up, then yes, it will. Quality of life is something else that would come into this. Leisure time, enjoying life, sitting on your couch and watching cable. Once you pay that cable bill, that doesn't count in GDP. So just enjoying, it's March when I'm making this, so the basketball games I get to watch during March Madness, that doesn't count. The money I spent to get those games does, but just the time I get to spend, sitting there with my bowl of chips or whatever else I have, that does not count. All right, measuring GDP. There's two types, and it's kind of hard to see, so I apologize for that. It didn't come out quite as well as I was hoping on the screencast here, but we have nominal versus real GDP. Nominal GDP is going to be measured in current prices, as it says here. And basically what that means is you don't have to account for inflation because you're going to measure it in just this year's prices. Real GDP is going to take into account inflation. So prices are going to change over the years. So example one, okay, this example up here. Assume an economy only produces socks and shirts. Let's say the economy in year one, they have 20 pairs of socks at 10 cents, 40 shirts at $4. You add that all up, you get $162 in GDP. Year two, 20 pairs of socks at 20 cents, that's $4, 100 shirts at $5 a piece, $500, 504 bucks. Well, that's nominal, okay, now because there's change in prices. If you're going to add those two together, it's not going to work like that, because if you notice, if you're going to really compare them, I should say, it's not going to work, because if you'll notice, it increased, a pair of socks increased by 10 cents, and the shirt increased by $1. And you'll also notice I obviously do not go shopping because those numbers are way offline, but hopefully you get the idea. To calculate it, you need to take year one prices. So you take year two output to the base year price, or year one price. So instead of 20 pairs of socks at 20 cents, you're going to take 20 pairs of socks at 10 cents, okay, because you're going to take year one price. So it's year two output using year one price. Same with the shirts. Instead of 100 shirts at $5, you take 100 shirts at $4. And so the real GDP for year two, after you add those together, is $402, if that makes sense. The final thing you'll need to know for the assignment today is intermediate versus final product. And this can be seen kind of like this. If once money stops changing hands, it's a final product. So it kind of depends on how the item is being used. For instance, I've got a couple examples here. First, a big screen TV. Is it an intermediate or final product? Well, it's both. It can be used as an intermediate product if, say, you were to use it in a sports bar. Because what would happen is, if I'm running a sports bar, I'm going to buy the TVs, the big screen TV, put it up in my sports bar so the people can come in and buy and watch sports, but they're also buying alcohol or chips, onion rings, cheese sticks, whatever you happen to be wanting that day, and then watching a game. Okay, but the TV is meant to enhance the experience, and the final product in that case would be the alcohol that's bought. If it was a final, it would be considered a final product, the TV that is, if I was to buy it and just put it in my house. I'm not going to charge people to come over and watch TV, watch my big screen TV. So that in that case would be a final product. Going back to the painting the house example, it's the same kind of idea. Okay, if I'm paying someone else, it's an intermediate. Buying the paint is an intermediate product because the final product is going to be the paint being put on the house. If I'm going to paint my own house, the final product is the paint, because now I'm paying someone to come in and, or I'm sorry, no, I'm not paying someone. The last time money changes hands is the paint itself. If this isn't making sense, go ahead and contact me at the email site given, and good luck.